yo, Frodan, you're Senna, like doing shit with the brand new character. Everyone went the Thresh way, and then you went with Senna, and we're absolutely fucking mopping up. It was incredible.
Oh, thanks. It was funny because I didn't think I was gonna play Senna because when I actually played in a previous slam, and I played Warwick. So, but the thing is, I was a Warwick kid as well. It did not go well though. Last time, we were dead last in the group stages. I mean, I think Diaphone played in that slam too, and I was on Team Void with Dabuzz, Void, Raditz, and Boger. And I think we won 3 matches the entirety of group stage. I think we went like 3 and like however many games there were. There was like 45 games, something like that. We were so bad. So we were like dead last. And the main reason why, and Diaphone can talk about it too, the last slam was the Teemo launch patch, and it was absolutely miserable. Teemo was the most broken character in the game by far, and every team had Teemo. Some teams even had multiple Teemos. And they had to take turns swapping off. Like, oh, in this match,
that was my team.
Teemo, and then this match you play Teemo.
Me and Shumi both played Teemo, so we had to pick who was going to be Teemo in whatever match we were going to play.
It was so bad. It was so bad. And then every match was just hot stuff, right? Like there's firing slingshots and camping, and every match timed out. It was so miserable.
It was awesome. It was incredible. It was fantastic.
Warwick struggles against Teemo, unless you're Gary. Warwick struggles against Teemo. Like good Teemos, and I was new, right? I was like I hadn't even played my single placement match prior to signing up for the slam, and they put me in C2, and I was going up against Teemos, and I was getting completely smashed. So I said, this event, I have to, no matter what, I have to play a character that's good against Teemo. And I really liked Thresh, but too many people were playing Thresh, and I played some Senna, and it was not looking good at first. I think my matches with Deathy were going pretty bad. But Diaphone said, don't worry, no matter what you do, you have to lock in. And I said, you know what? I think Senna's a really sick character. And also, I think Wraith form is just super nasty. So I said, you know, I'm going to lock in Senna and really put in the work. And I'm glad that my coach, Diaphone, believed in me. And also, Zane helped lab out all the tech because he actually spent an afternoon with Senna. So from there, the rest was history.
Hell yeah, good shit.
All I did was tell you to spam back assist twice and S1 with Wraith form. And I got you halfway there.
It works.
So. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So I guess just like moving on from that, like how was your Evo for those of you who went that got to make it out? How'd that go?
Well, let's start with a different thing. Who went to Evo?
I mean, I think me, Zane, and Zyzix, because I actually saw Zyzix at Evo, and I'm like, oh shit, what up? And we talked. It was cool seeing each other IRL, and I was like, we gotta get an Evo photo. And then Zane was walking around, but Zane was busy. We never got to have everyone together.
Yeah, no one. Like I was hanging out at Resort World every like day after Evo. Like so, I was like, if they show up, it's drink and picture time. But I was there. I got.
Thanks for the invite, by the way.
Okay.
I just randomly show up. Like
I just assumed everyone knew Resort World was like the spot because like every time I showed up, it was just hella niggas just like lined up for drinks. Like we're paying for like $25 drinks, like and shit. Like look, I'm real. Like
that's where you find Japanese players just like fucking down in bottles as well.
It was true. No, it was true. Like people were sitting down, like paying for whole bottles. Like, look, next year, like, what if we don't go to Resort World? We just go to a normal bar, pay for like $6 drinks, $5 drinks. So like, you know, if all of Spectres are there. I'm just saying that'd be kind of chill, like, or just show up in Vegas in general. Like Vegas.
Yeah, well,
nice
you're in Vegas in general, exactly. Like, you're literally right.
Here.
You're
yes.
right there.
Yeah, I'm a Vegas boy, so like, just any time of the year besides summer, because summer is ass. Any other season's fantastic in Vegas. Like, you should roll up for sure.
Okay.
I got to meet Zyzix and our Justice. So they watched some of my games when I was playing on stream, and then Diaphone was sitting on the couch on the last day. And his chat told me to sit down in the front row and stare at the camera, so I sat down in front of in front row and stared at the camera until K7 pointed it out. Typhon was like, "Zane, what's Zane?" No, look at the Zane in the camera. Oh, I think I just scared Typhon in his own stream.
Yeah. But no, overall, I think the fact that they went right into revealing Lux and Samira, that's pretty sick for Thresh and Senna just dropping. Like, it feels like the momentum of like, okay, we're filling out this roster, we want to hit 20 characters or so as soon as possible. That, like, I was not expecting the next two like right away. That was pretty smart.
They're farther away though, right? Like one of them is like full trailer in fall, which means she's definitely much further away.
Yeah, we kind of figure as much though, because I think about it, like Senna and Thresh at this point have been out for what, 5 weeks, something like that. And we're talking about there's 2 more characters left for this year, when they revealed them both with Lux and Samira. So if we think about it, there's another 5 months or so left of the year. So I'm assuming that we're probably going to get, my guess is we're going to get Lux probably end of August to around earliest September. And then Samira is probably going to be late November to early December. Would be my rough guess, at least. Of course, knowing Riot, Lux is going to come out the week before Evo France or something like that. That just seems like what they keep doing. They seem to love releasing giant patches or new characters right before their major events.
I see.
Well, it is exciting.
Yeah.
Not for the players. Everyone else.
But there are only so many players compared to how many viewers, right?
I saw like his tweet by Leffen like right beforehand, and he was kind of like very unhappy about
Leffen was unhappy.
Yeah, right.
I was about to say,
it's quite out of character for him. But
I was going to say, if you don't know Leffen, his default emotion is unhappy. So
but I was like surprised because I feel like a lot of I guess I was surprised just because I thought people would be really excited, but it turns out like I'm not sure. Is the sentiment amongst pros like they don't want that kind of stuff before tournaments? Like they're not happy that Thresh and Senna dropped.
So we're okay. So I think I can't speak for every top player, of course. I can only speak for myself, but for the most part, we're okay with like new characters coming out. But the fact that a new character comes out a week and a half, 2 weeks before a big tournament, and normally these characters come with balance changes. So put the two of them on top of each other, we might potentially have to either, oh crap, my character just got hella nerfed, and I have to learn a new character or a new team in 2 weeks. Oh, at the same time, if Senna and Thresh, if either of them end up being good, if someone picks them up, I have to learn how to fight against what they do and fight against them in 2 weeks. And depending on how far you're flying, you might have even less time than that because you might be flying a week before to get used to the massive time zone change.
I think I remember that Leffen traveled to a Riot office to try out some new characters, but the flight time was so long that by the time he got home, the characters were out.
Man,
he didn't gain anything by going all the way out there.
There was a whole thing. There was a whole thing for a while of. I'm not sure how many of you guys saw the whole ban the testers thing that went around for a little while. Basically, a bunch of 2XKO pros. I wish I was one of them. Got invited out to Riot HQ, try some of the new stuff, as well as they got a teaser of what like the nerfs and buffs were going to be for the upcoming patch. So there was a massive thing going around. Ban the testers. They have an unfair advantage. They're trying to diaphones, so that's all for ban. They get too much advantage. Super knew that the nerfs were coming. That's why he changed teams. They got to see Caitlyn early, so they got to know they knew exactly what was going on. They should not be allowed to play. And Leffen's counterpoint was that yes, they got to do that, but if you count in the fact that some of them were flying out days before it actually happened, and then they only got to spend like a couple hours or however much time, or an hour, or however much time it was on the new stuff. That if anything, they technically got negative time because of the fact that they got to see all the new stuff early, but they lost out on a lot of practice. They didn't really get to learn anything crazy. And the only advantage that I ever really saw pretty much was the fact that Supernoon changed teams like 2 weeks in advance because of it. That was like the only thing I saw from it.
I feel like I definitely understand the having the lack of prep time sucks, and that feeling being a negative, going into like a big event and stuff. But there's definitely that part of me that's like, man, like as insane as Teamfight was, it does suck that it just goes to stop. It just stops existing immediately. And that's the kind of thing where I'm looking at it like, I wish that it didn't get like nerfed into oblivion personally. Yeah, I'm someone who's like, I wish that there was a thing here to make it be, still part of the equation and something interesting and new to the game, but just not like it's too much and now it's just gone and it's not talked about.
Well, let's see them finally nerf freestyle from the absolute unmitigated best style in the game before like we buff up some of the other ones, because like if they all get toned down to some point of reasonableness, then okay, fine. But I was playing Double Down, I was playing 2x Assist because I don't have the brain for freestyle, and then I switched to freestyle. Even though I don't fully understand freestyle, it's better. I was better with it right away. It was like kind of frustrating. I actually don't like it in its core concept.
You force your opponent to react to more things and to like they have to be.
Yeah, but I have to think of more things. I don't want to do that. I want to brain dead my way through the fucking match.
Yeah, well, if you want to think about it this way, like, what's the most broken thing in 2SKO? Active tag. What does freestyle let you do? Active tag twice. It's it's just a given that doing so is just going to make it be the best option, because
the other thing I'm curious about to see is just like, okay, so are we gonna get this type of like the Thresh power drop where you're like, okay, this character comes in and just dominates? Is there gonna be something like that where is Lux gonna come in and dominate and then Samira as well? Like, merely the fact, seeing that tweet where I forgot who wrote it, but it was just like, Marlon Pie, tell me that you're designing Samira and my life is yours, and Marlon Pie's like,
I'm a big fan of the new character being really good. I remember when Street Fighter V Alex came out and he was fine, and I was like, oh man, come on, why couldn't it?
No, dude, Yun in fucking Arcade Edition, man, going.
Oh. No, I said good. I didn't say like that.
And then they buffed him.
Yeah, he needed it, Gary.
He had it. He had trouble getting in on the opponent.
Yeah.
So they buffed him. Like.
So I mean, just anyway, this was for anyone who doesn't know, just like contextually, they added Yun to Street Fighter 4, and it's a character that had everything that all the best characters in the game had, and I think the best encapsulation in like a fighting game context of like a term that's been used recently is car crash neutral. This character has a giant...
Love car crash neutral.
Yeah.
I never heard of that. Wait, I never heard of that.
It was part of the discourse online. And Yun had a move where he lunges across the screen. It was an EX lunge punch. So you spent meter. And it was not only safe, he was plus. It was his advantage if you blocked it.
Yep. And
if he landed it, he could go straight into his ultra. So there was just no downside to just throwing it out, and it's an unreactable like speed that it flies at you at, and you're like, well, why are we even playing the game at this point? What are we doing here?
Well, you're playing the game so that the young player can have a great day.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And they also, and again, and that was I feel like that might have been the moment where Capcom was kind of like, if you sell them the thing that they win with, they will buy the winning character. Like, this is like, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering style philosophy to it, Anyway, I'm the fact that Samira is going to be a like Dante style character in the game is already like super sick and cool. I'm just wondering if it's going to be a massive every time a new character gets added, they get added to the top of the stack, is what I'm wondering we're going to be seeing here.
I'm so fucking scared.
I'm so scared. Like, that they could probably say with when it comes to Deadlock, what their new characters are, but at least so far but like fighting games, there definitely is that. More people tend to focus on that than the other way around, of course, because no one remembers the characters that arrived into the game and did absolutely nothing, but everyone always remembers the characters that came into the game and destroyed everyone. Dragon Ball FighterZ, GT Goku, and Labco 21, for example. Tekken, Tekken 7, it was Leroy. Right. Luke in Street Fighter 5. So everyone always remembers those characters. But if we remember in 2SKO so far, Caitlyn came out and she was terrible. Senna came out right now, and unless you're Fronan, most people all say that she's pretty bad, that she's one of the worst in the game, that she's one of the worst in the game right now.
Picking Senna and no one else having picked Senna made you a lot scarier than I think you would have otherwise, because you were like, I'd be doing my the matches through, and it's like, oh fuck, it's the only Senna I've played in a week is the one I have to beat. I don't know what the fuck any of this does.
So basically all his game. Sorry, run that real quick. Sorry, Deathy. It was just the basically his game that Lux and Samira could come out and they could end up being completely busted. I think Samira's probably got a high likelihood of that, just because of the fact that so many people are hyped for it, so they're probably going to make sure that she's good, because if she's bad, people are going to get pissed off. But you never really know, because the character could come out and be Senna, or the character can come out and be Thresh, and we're literally seeing that right now because they came out at the same time and they're so different.
Yeah, a new character that's half cooked does feel bad. I'm curious, in Deadlock, do new releases tend to come out and just head straight to the top?
I mean, it's not just really a Deadlock thing, it's more of a MOBA thing. I'm actually kind of surprised that you guys are saying that in fighting games, like there's plenty of times where new characters aren't really that good. Because in MOBAs, new characters tend to be like OP. Like almost always a new character releases and they're usually just like completely broken. There are exceptions to this, but it also just makes sense from so obviously with MOBAs, patches tend to be more frequent than fighting games. So like if a character is completely broken, like Deadlock is in development right now, and so they've been releasing, they've released the last 2 batches have been 6 characters at once dropping. So just think about that, right? Like the game has 38 heroes now, but like 6 months ago the game had 32 heroes. So you go from 32 to 38, you're adding essentially like 20% more heroes in one patch. Obviously it's going to be a complete shit show. But also, like, when you're adding a new character to a game, you want people to play the character. And when the character is new in any type of game, whether it's fighting games, whether it's MOBAs, whether it's shooters, whatever it is, people are going to be bad at the character if it's new, right? And so the character being kind of like on the stronger side is usually a safe bet from a developer perspective, because like, okay, people are not going to be very good at him. You want people to play the new character so that you can see kind of how it fits in the game. But obviously for that to work, you have to be willing to balance the character quickly if it's too strong. Which MOBAs usually do. Like, for example, Deadlock will release a character, and the day later they'll already nerf them, like within a day.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is
stuff happens
with fighting games. Like, I guess like too many patches too quickly without letting things settle tend to elicit like a negative response from most of the players. Like people do want to have that time for the dust to settle. Because we're also talking about coming from arcades where a release would drop and then, like, in some cases they'd update it in a year's time or two, but in other cases it would just sit there for a decade and you're like, that's the version, that's the game. ST is ST.
I have a couple thoughts on this, by the way. I think there's 2 big differences. One, Deadlock's not for console, right?
No.
Correct. Yeah, so my understanding is like pushing patches to console takes some time. So it's really hard to do like those really quick adjustments you'd see in like PC only games. And also fighting game characters are like way hard to solve. Like it actually blows my mind that you say you can patch a character a day after they come out because they're really OP. Because in fighting games, like you can have like the most broke character, like Mai, for example, in Street Fighter 6. You guys all know Mai's like ridiculous. She still is ridiculous even though she's gotten nerfed. When that character first came out, a lot of people thought she was bad. And it took like actually like a good amount of time, maybe like a month, before people started to realize like, okay, this character is like actually really good. So I think it's like a combination of just patches take longer because they're cross system, and then it's harder to solve a fighting game character for whatever reason.
Would fighting games
there's some characters that are hard to solve. Sorry about that, Pat, but like
no worries.
There's been a history of like certain characters that, like, for example, they're OP when they're released, but when they're released, people think they're bad. In MOBAs as well, like in Deadlock, an example for those of you that know Deadlock would be Doorman. Or Doorman on release, he was like really kind of OP, but people didn't even like consider all the things that you could do because he's a very high skill cap character. Whereas like a very like easy character, like if you release a very easy character that's very strong, then those are usually the ones that get nerfed right away. But I think that some of that happens, and like you're right that in fighting games, I mean, one of the examples from non-fighting games is like Counter-Strike, right? For those of you that know the Counter-Strike scene, there was what was that gun called? Was it the AUG or something? Like there was a gun that was like basically broken for like 8 years plus, And then eventually people are like, wait, like, and it was kind of like nobody bought this gun. And then eventually people started buying it. It's like, oh, wait, this is actually OP. So sometimes things take years, but also sometimes it takes one day.
You're going to say, Pat?
Would fighting games be better served by allowing your opponent to ban a character of their choice?
Oh, like Smash banning stages?
No, like MOBAs. Like, I don't want to deal with
character bans. Oh, man.
I thought 2XKO was going to do that. It's like, okay, League of Legends, like, right? And then you go from, MOBA to fighting game. I was like, bro, I don't want to fight Thresh. Ban that motherfucker, bro. Get him out of here.
As somebody who, like, I take one character, I stay as a specialist on that, and I just main them the whole time through. That would be a nightmare. I would hate that. I play characters... because I really enjoy them, and like taking away that fun in this type of genre, at least, that would drive me crazy. I'd fucking hate it so much.
And just saying, as someone who played League for 11 years, I could learn how to play 10 champions before I completely master one champion in 2SKO. Yeah. So it's not like, oh yeah, this champion is really easy. So just go ahead and pick up this third champion, learn all the synergies with either of the other champions you're already playing, but get ready with the fuse, with the tags, with the mix-ups, do all that, because any of them could get banned. Then the other person has to do that as well, and then it's just going to get. It's just not as easy to pick up with fighting games compared to something like a MOBA, where you only have like 4 moves and something like auto attacks.
Frodan, how's your experience been with TFT and like this type and this type of thing, introducing new characters and where they land and it's like how strong they are on release?
Yeah, TFT is kind of crazy because it's a new. Every few months they do a new set, and it would be the equivalent of like, let's say 2XKO or Tokon or whatever, bring back maybe 2 or 3 of the same fighting game characters, but then they bring back an entire new roster, and they have different abilities and different things. TFT reinvents itself every 3 to 4 months.
The game's like really cool. The game's fundamental shared rules.
The game's core mechanics stay the same, but so imagine 2SKO. So like imagine the 10 original characters. Imagine basically those characters all poof and 10 new ones take their place.
Gotcha. Okay. Huh.
Okay.
Huh.
And you were saying,
so it's like learning a new game every single 4 months. That's what makes it really. And then they also balance patch every 2 weeks. Like one thing that's really interesting about the culture around fighting games is that they don't bounce patch very often. And if they do bounce patch, it's like one of those things where they complain about it a lot because it changes too much. So it's really fascinating that like the culture around fighting games, but Riot wants to balance patch pretty often, but then instead of figuring out how to beat a character or a matchup, they like complain about it and they want a balance patch. So versus like in the past, I'm used to fighting games that just don't patch forever. Like I look at Capcom and Street Fighter, they like it's like the same patch for like how long now, Diaphone? How long has Street Fighter been the same meta?
Oh God, too long.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very similar to even just season 1. Like, if you just think about all the changes, like compared to other games like 2XKO that have nerfed like Echo and Yasuo like 10 times, like even like JP's barely changed. Like it's like the equivalent of like 1 2XKO patch.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so it's really different.
Okay.
Oh no! I'd say it's like a completely different experience, but that's why I appreciate fighting games, because I feel like sometimes I can learn a character, pick it, and then I put it down for like a few months and come back, and it feels like I still got some of that muscle memory. Just need to do a couple warm up laps.
But like you talking,
like I've been playing Grappler since 1991, so
that's
like,
it.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I'm gonna get close. I'm gonna do the fucking command grab and fucking whatever.
And then you're gonna touch your nose when you land it.
Yeah, I would stop pointing that out, please.
I wish I was like that. I wish I was like I played the big grappler character. So when this new game comes out, I just look for the big grappler player, and that's who I play. I wish I
then turn your brain right the fuck off.
I wish I had that.
I mean, so yeah, like Frodan, when you mentioned like every 2 weeks as like being the norm there, or like Diaphone, your example of like it literally being something that gets patched the next day depending on the genre. I guess the player expectation for how often a game is going to get touched is like you can directly kind of calculate how upset they'll be and the frequency. And I imagine that Riot is probably going, okay, we know that the FGC is used to this type of frequency, but they're used to a more frequent one. They're used to Riot is used to updating things more often. I would imagine in this case they're kind of going, if the anger outweighs the benefits of letting it rock, then we'll just snuff it out faster. So Teamfight, as an example, that was a very fast, just kill it, it's done, because people were super upset across the board, and it was a very, very vocal thing compared to like some of the other like issues that people complain about, where it's like people are mad, but they're not like, I'm boycotting the game until this gets fixed mad, you know?
Yeah, I also think that like 2SK was like really in a unique position because they are a fighting game, and fighting games are pretty niche, and they had laid off a bunch of staff, right, at the launch of the game, and that kind of created a lot of lack of confidence from like the outsider's perspective.
For sure.
But Riot also has like this giant ego. I'm a full-time Riot Games prisoner. That's like the joke amongst my stream that I play all the Riot games. But it's interesting with like 2SK in particular, because they're so used to like commercial-wide success at like an industry-wide level that I wonder like if they even can nerf Ahri, because Ahri is like clearly one of the big gooner baits. Like they're selling pool party skins, and then they're like, oh my god, it's not doing great. Let's sell a second Ahri skin, right? Let's a third Ahri skin, and they're like, you know, fuck it, let's just put Caitlyn half naked as well and do a second variation for her. And so it's like, you know, can they even nerf these characters, man? Because it's bad for business.
Yeah, I mean,
they can only nerf that character once they put a larger target for gooning.
Lux is coming.
It's all right. Lux is coming. She'll sell the skin so Ahri can be nerfed.
God. Yeah, no, it is absolutely tied to it. Like the cosmetic sellers and all that super matter, especially when you're a free to play business model. Like there's no question here. And this is it's not the first free-to-play fighting game, but it's the first, like, I feel like sort of serious attempt in a way.
I'd say that's the first one that actually matters.
Because, you know, before this, you have, like, Tekken Revolution, which, okay, sure. WoolieVersus, okay, sure. And, you know...
And there was Killer Instinct.
And KI, and there was a paid mode, but it had a free mode, and Grand Blue also has a free mode and a paid mode, you know? So they didn't have to rely on the free-to-play economy as much. It was a secondary feature of their game, whereas 2X is like, this is the only thing, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Interesting. Yeah, personally for me, I coming from that arcade era of just like, yeah, look, Chun-Li is never going to get touched in Third Strike, so just fucking deal with it. Like, this is your life. Accept it. If you want to continue playing this game, learn to realize that, you know, you're going to get crouching medium kicked into fucking your ass getting blown up. It is what it is. But I would not mind, like, the patch that comes alongside the new character for me feels like a decent frequency. I don't know that I personally like it being touched like every month or so. I know that, like, again, I'm not too sure about like with Mortal Kombat, but like the few people I knew that were kind of into that were kind of describing how most of the top players in MK were just like super mad that the game would never settle. They'd never let it sit. They'd go a couple weeks and they'd touch it again. And again, in a fighting game's case, it takes a lot longer to crack open, you know, and solve these characters. So
I'm going to take a slightly different path on this. Personally, like I am not a pro, right, fighting game player. I am a casual fighting game player who is okay sometimes, right? So bear that in mind with this opinion. But like my primary baby is like FF14, and there's nothing more frustrating than when the expansion comes out and they've reworked your job to be shit or something that you really don't enjoy, and it's a patch that you're like unhappy with, and you get to the interview portion of whenever the next time they run into the devs and you're like, hey, are you gonna fix this? And they're like, maybe in like 2.5 years.
Years?
Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck, man?
Years?
Yeah, years. They're like, well, we don't have the resources allocated for a full rework of that job within the current timeline of the expansion. So maybe, and then if you complain hard enough, you'll get like emergency buffs.
Yeah, no,
but that's all metrics based. That's all like, oh, people have dropped these classes. People don't play them anymore, and it's like, fuck.
That's a PVE.
It's too slow.
That's a PVE experience. That shit's crazy. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
Right. It's not
Well,
competitive.
it's a PVE cooperative experience, so and you're having to deal with the social ramifications of being that job that maybe you don't like to play anymore. But it's the one you have leveled and geared, and it's a whole different society.
Right.
But like. I would rather have too many changes than not enough changes. Right? Because like sitting around knowing like, oh, there's going to be a Street Fighter balance patch. I hope they change the thing. Oh, JP, fucking whatever. I don't even care anymore. Like fucking JP. Still.
I think the genre is ultimately what determines that, because what you're describing when your expectation is you're logging on with friends to go, play together and such. There's no that taking forever sucks. And as you said, you're already invested experience wise and everything with your characters that have been built up. It's a different thing versus like adjusting the rules on the chessboard.
So I can maybe touch on this in a little bit from other genres I've played. Please. So I've like 2,000 hours on Path of Exile as well. And one thing that you're describing, Pat, is I'm a bit of a tryhard. I like the tryhard games, but
no, it's like I have some experience in Path of Exile. It's like, okay, I feel where you're going. I have it. Okay.
So what you're describing is at the end of the day, when you're playing like a PvE game and you are invested in like something, they can't really balance it very often, right? Because like otherwise it leads to a ton of frustration. Like if you're playing a PoE league and you have your build and you got your character to like level 95 and then they just nerf your skill, it's like, okay, well, what did I just spend 100 hours like gearing up my character for? So obviously they can't do like balance in the league. They have to do it in between leagues, which makes it so, okay, big balance patches happen every league, which is going to be every 3 to 4 months. And in fighting games, kind of similarly, you've got most people have a main, okay? Like they've got their character that they play, and that's who they stick with no matter what, right? Like I was playing Darius, and like even if Darius got buffed or nerfed, I probably would have kept playing Darius. Whereas in other genres, that's not really the case. Like for example, in MOBAs, people sometimes there'll be one tricks that just play one character, right? And people have like kind of a comfort pool, but most people kind of like Zane said earlier, like they'll rotate between different characters. And in Teamfight Tactics, every single game you change the like composition that you're going to play, right? You adapt to whatever is necessary. So even if TFT changes everything, the game mechanics are still the same, so it's not a big deal. And in MOBAs, well, okay, one of your characters got nerfed, the other one got buffed. You're kind of still chilling. So I feel like the culture of balance changes is basically dependent on like how players approach those games. And I feel like for fighting games, it's one of those things where it's just like, you just gotta kind of deal with it. And I kind of appreciate that kind of more old school thing, because it's true that back in the day, like when we played games, like, you played, I don't know, like you played a Smash on your GameCube, like that game was not getting patched.
That's it.
Like,
No,
you were dealing with the game is the game.
Deal with it. And in a way, part of me kind of misses that. Of course, we have a lot of things that are, we have it better in many ways with, regular patches, keeping games fresh and allowing us to spend thousands and thousands of hours in a game without getting bored, which was harder to do back then. But, it's kind of cool to just be like, hey, here's a problem in front of you. You can have 10 years to fix it, to solve it. And like we saw even with Smash, even without patches or anything, like over the 10, 15 years lifespan, and even with fighting games, just the same, right? Like the meta evolves even with no patches over years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I feel, I guess I just kind of, one of the things that comes down to, because as you're describing having a genre where you're used to playing multiple characters and such, I also feel the moments where I'm like, there are times where I like a character, I'm playing as a character more than I like the game itself, and it's almost like I would rather drop this than switch. I'm not huge on Tekken. I don't play a ton, but I fucking love Steve Fox. And I love playing Steve Fox more than I love the entire game of Tekken, So that's like where if you whatever he's gonna go through, whatever you're adjusting, okay, I gotta deal with it. But if I were forced to go and play another character or so, I'm like, well, I don't really even want to play that much anymore,
Yeah, that was honestly me with Grand Blue. Like I've been playing Grimnir pretty much for almost the entirety of the time the game's been out. And every time a new character comes out, I'm like, oh, this character looks cool. Maybe I'll try them. I try them, like, not as good. And so I just kept playing Grimnir, and then eventually at last year's Evo, they nerfed him. I don't want to say really hard, but they changed him fundamentally, I guess, in a matter of speaking.
Okay.
He used to be very combo heavy, corner to corner combos into crazy Oki. That was his thing pretty much, right?
Okay.
And they removed that. So now he has a lariat that's safe on block that myself and every Grimnir all spams, and people get pissed off about it. It used to be unsafe, but it also used to wall bounce, so it doesn't do that anymore. And then they changed how his tornado works, so now he no longer gets any of the fun Oki used to do. So I'm like, Grimnir is not that much fun anymore. And then when I try anyone else, I'm like, you know what? I think I actually just didn't like this game. I think I just liked Grimnir.
Okay.
Oh man, That's a brutal reckoning.
I definitely am gonna come back to Grand Blue and take a look at that at some point. And I gotta hit you up, Zane, and see if you can show the ropes a bit.